is probably the best week of Ben's life because there's no Thursday night football.
Thursday night football. Thank God. Oh man, just so happy.
I mean, to be fair, Thursday night football would have been a good game.
I mean, yeah, but like either way, I don't want Thursday. I'm like so opposed to Thursday night football in like all aspects. I don't care if it's a great game. I just don't want Thursday night football.
You just soured completely on it.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
As this is like anything new to you?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
I was just saying, you finally get a week without Thursday night football. I expect you to just be running off the walls.
Best Thursday of my life.
Wow. That's a good Thursday, too. We've had some good Thursdays, I tell you what.
We've had some very fun Thursdays. I know Elliot Bowers had some great Thursdays.
Thursday, like...
We'll be talking about Elliot. Elliot actually sent in a hot tip.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that one.
Second Floor Sports episode 16, I think.
Yeah.
We got the championship series rolling on in baseball, so we'll start with that.
Wait, first of all, is Nolan right? No,
what has been an NBA game played on a Thursday? No, that's just
incorrect.
No.
Cool. Thank you, Nolan.
I don't know what to make of that. The Astros last night taking a gritty 4-3 win over the Rays to stay alive. Ben, we got to start with, obviously the Astros had to win to keep their series alive. But Greinke,
that's how it works.
Greinke on the mound. It was the fifth inning, I believe, and sixth inning.
Yeah.
He was going up against Randy the Goat, which I hope you saw what they wrote on the board.
That was such a bad acronym.
It was
Breaks all night day year.
It started off really strong, but then they're like, yeah, I can't think of anything.
Also, like, why do you have to acronym it? Like his name,
that's what Randy stands for.
Sure. Like I feel
Confirmed.
like I didn't come up with it, but like I feel like you could come up with something like a little bit better.
Rakes all night, day, and year.
Like, yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
You're just tight.
Like I am tight, but I also do have the direct line to Chief, and he was implying that it wasn't it. So
okay. But the big decision last night was you got your bullpen arms ready. If you're the Astros, Dusty Baker goes out there. Greinke says, "Nah, fuck that. Keep me in it." Maldonado says, "Nah, fuck that. Keep him in it." And Dusty Baker's like, "All right, fuck it.
Okay, I'll keep him.
I'll keep him in."
Off rip, I thought that was a miserable decision. Actually such a bad call. Season on the line, and you're not going to like your number one reliever there, bases loaded, or
it was right to get ripped up.
Yeah, like so easily could have gone so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tip of the hat to Zach Greinke, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, of course, it's Dusty Baker, the oldest manager in the league, who likes to kind of go like I can't imagine the analytics were like in favor of that decision. But I mean, that's what, that's like, you don't see it so much anymore, but like sometimes part of being a manager is still like having a feel for your players and knowing just, eye test. Can you see that Zach Greinke has his good stuff? And I thought he had some of his better stuff last night. I mean, clearly got out of the inning, had a good start. It wasn't like the most dominant start I've ever seen, but it's all you can tell as a manager is like, does my guy have what he has? Does he have what he needs to get through this spot? And obviously he did.
Yeah, and to make it even more ballsy, like Greinke, his arm has been sore so much the fact that he barely made it on the championship roster.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, unless he
but it wasn't serious doubt. I mean, at one point they were considering keeping him off, which means he is not 100% comfortable out there, and he hasn't pitched that well in the postseason. So even more balls.
I don't know. It's the type of thing where it's like, are the Astros really going to keep? I get it. We're talking about it like a decision. Decision's already been made, obviously, but like, come on, are you really going to leave your ace off the roster?
I mean, well, clearly not. But if there was, I don't
know. We don't know. There's no point in breaking it down. I was skeptical about them actually leaving him off.
Yeah. I mean, the decision's ballsy. It obviously pays off because the first guy he has to face when they leave him in there is a Rosarena who had the 2-run shot to tie
the hottest hitter in the game right now.
I
saw an interesting thing on Twitter. It was like
breaks all.
Imagine if a Rosarena was a Stop it. Imagine if he was a free agent after this postseason.
Yeah, well, that's
prime
this
candidate
is like the
to get some
typical
like obscenely large contract that he just doesn't deserve.
he just never lives up to it. I mean, I don't think you could really expect someone to hit 400 for their career unless his name is DJ.
I think he was hitting like 527 in the ALDS or something stupid like that. Yeah. No, he gets out 43% of the time. That's great.
Also, the check swing call on him was awful. But it doesn't matter.
I can't get too worked. A, it doesn't matter. B, I can't get too worked up over check swing calls. Like, it's so it's just so tough.
Yeah, pretty crazy. To put it into perspective, keeping Greinke in that game.
Stop everything.
What?
Daryl Morey is out as Rockets general manager.
Why do we keep doing this? It's the third time. Wow, they're cleaning house.
Is James Harden gone?
He might be.
Good thing we prepped so much NBA today. Shit.
God damn.
Somehow I missed the actual tweet notification.
I put my phone on do not disturb when I do the show.
Well, I leave it off do not disturb literally for this reason. I put my texts on I mute any text conversations I'm having. But I leave my Twitter notifications on. I mean, sorry, Houston, Tampa, but
yeah,
what does that mean?
Baseball right now.
What does that mean? Hey, relax.
Right now. We'll get to it later.
No. I won't stand for any fuck baseball talk. It's October. Relax. We are going to talk about this Daryl Morey situation. I mean, are they down?
Talk about it.
I literally I wish you guys could see our rundown right now. We literally don't have any NBA in our rundown right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a coaching carousel going on, but we figured we'd save it for next week.
Well, it's the finals ended this week, right? Yeah. The finals ended this week. The offseason is not even the offseason hasn't begun yet. The Lakers haven't even. I don't know what the Lakers are going to do for a championship parade. I imagine they're going to do some sort of celebration. The offseason doesn't begin until at least after that.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the offseason has just begun because Daryl Morey's.
Yeah, or I mean, free agency might not start till December. So.
Yeah, the NBA doesn't even know when they're starting their season yet. I mean, no head coach, no GM. Are they blowing it up?
I gotta think so. I mean, look, it kind of seemed like they were going to, or they were at least going to bring in a coach and be like, all right, well, let's try to get whatever we can out of James Harden for rest. But the formula is clearly not working.
James Harden can be, obviously, this is not anything shocking. James Harden can be the number one player on a title contender. I think the Rockets kind of found themselves in a really shitty spot, just by pure dumb luck in terms of having James Harden having a really good team playing in the Western Conference, playing against the death line of Warriors. So you just got the tweet. Rockets are planning to promote Executive VP of Basketball Operations Raphael Stone to GM.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Rafa Stone.
Obviously, Rafa Stone, best Executive VP of Ops in the league.
Yeah, duh.
Obviously.
Obviously.
You ever heard that name before today?
No.
Nope.
That's a cool name, though. Rafa Stone.
I could work with it.
Not bad.
And so they're promoting from within, which leads me to believe did you just retweet something or is that a delayed notification?
I just retweeted it.
We're in the middle of a show. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I can multitask.
Whatever.
This is crazy. I mean,
okay. They're promoting from within, so I would assume that they're probably not blowing it up. I think if they were blowing it up, they probably would. Well, I mean,
I don't know, dude. Just
I'm trying to think and process and plan points ahead, and I'm just what?
It's not like this is it's not like this is completely out of left field, but
is it? It's not.
I mean,
had you heard it?
No, I'm just I heard
unaware, but had you heard
from my sources? From my sources, no,
right.
From the podcast I've listened to, it kind of seemed like like Morey was probably gonna still be there for another year or two, but like it's not like his seat wasn't hot, right? You have that sort of roster. You've consistently underperformed. You at this point,
have they underperformed or have they underwhelmed?
They've underwhelmed. I mean, both. I mean, you have Westbrook
but not necessarily the same thing. I think underperforming it would be like, I don't know. Continue making your point.
Yeah. I mean, you have Westbrook and Harden, or you have CP3 and Harden. You have that sort of roster, championship aspirations, and you make it to the Western Conference once. Like, that's not good. And at this point, you look at
bad.
Yeah, like again, remember what they traded for Westbrook, right? This was a fit that as soon as we heard the trade was going down, we were like, okay, you have two players that are the caliber of James Harden and Russell Westbrook. It could work, but like this fit very clearly is like does not work. And
it almost reminds me of like it just reminds me almost of like the Sixers situation where it's like you can assemble all the talent you want. Like there obviously is something to be said for acquire talent and make it work. Mm-hmm. But like especially in the NBA, like you've only got 5 guys on the floor at once. If 2 of your players like don't fit together, that's an issue.
At least for the Sixers, they drafted Simmons and Embiid, right? Here they were like, okay, Chris Paul can create offense off the dribble and he can, pick and roll maestro, the point guard.
Maestro.
Like running it with James Harden, like that's a good fit. That didn't work out. Okay, let's go get Russell Westbrook.
It's a good fit, but it's not the type of fit that you're like.
Significantly better fit than Westbrook, though, right?
Okay, yeah. Fair.
You bring in Westbrook, who hasn't really shown that he can play that much off the ball. Like can't shoot.
Well, look, at this point, we know what Russell Westbrook is.
Okay, yeah.
I don't mean just like you and me. I mean like the NBA knows who Russell Westbrook is. Like
everyone but Russell Westbrook knows who Russell Westbrook is, right? At this point.
At this point, yeah.
Like that's not on paper wasn't a good fit. Daryl Morey absolutely stripped any assets the team had to bring him in.
I mean, for good reason. Like that is the kind of the type like if you want to get Russell Westbrook, that's how you have to do it. Like you're not going to get him on like a bargain basement deal.
Like Daryl Morey is a good GM because he can always make something out of basically nothing. But his moves at the end of the day haven't worked. I mean, that's what it probably came down to. You're not going to bring D'Antoni back in. You're not going to bring Morey back in. The bigger question from this is, where does James Harden get dealt? It's not the craziest thought. Like
the funny thing to think about is like if James Harden gets dealt, obviously he's bringing back a haul.
Yeah,
more than the Paul George trade, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm. Like 3 first-round picks. Probably an expiring or 2 deal and maybe a good role player.
Where does he like? I don't think this means James Harden's getting traded.
Wait.
Talk to me.
What if a certain team with a huge cachet of draft picks, right? A good young roster, they kind of capped out in the first round, a team maybe located in Oklahoma City.
Imagine.
Oh man, what if they trade?
I mean, that's the only team I think realistic. At least 10 minutes after this news is broke. That's the only team I can think of that has like legitimately has the assets to trade for James Harden.
Well, there's certainly definitely other teams. I mean,
who?
I'm trying to think what teams have that many draft picks.
Who has that many? I'm like Boston, but like they have no place for him.
Yeah, I mean the thing is,
I mean like I guess it's gonna have to be a team. You could ship like you make a package around like Jalen and Kemba, and you run a Harden Tatum lineup.
Oh Jesus!
That would be scary. That'd be something.
Yeah, I mean, and this is
Jalen, Kemba, like Robert Williams, like, and they've got. I guess the Celtics. All right, I'll add the Celtics to the list of teams that could theoretically trade for James Harden. I don't think you would want to trade for James Harden if you're Boston.
Oh, that's a different question.
It's like what we were just saying. Like, do you want to bring in like if you can bring in James Harden, you kind of have to. It's a matter of like, do you want to?
Yeah.
And it's like Boston is so good because they're classic like the reason Boston is so scary in the East is like they can play as both styles of teams. Like they can play as like, okay, we've got Jason Tatum, like we're just going to cook you because he's the best player on the floor. But they can also be like, the team that's better than the sum of their parts. They've also got a great head coach, obviously. Like Boston's hot take. Boston's really good.
No way. But like, how long have we been having this conversation? Right, the last 3 years. You talk about awesome GMs, and obviously, what's his face? Danny Ainge. I was blank for a second. Obviously, Danny Ainge has to come up. Like the thing that makes it difficult.
And if anyone's gonna make a wild trade like that, it is.
Yeah, like if you bring in James Harden, like you're gonna have to match the contract, or you're gonna have to find some way to get that contract up. I have the contract pulled up right now. He's gonna make his base salary is 41 mil. But like 2022, 23, he's got a dead cap hit of $50 million, a cap hit of $47 million. It's
he's also James Harden.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's not worth it. He has a player option in 2022, which I'm assuming he's not going to take. He's not going to give up. I mean, he's going to take it.
Presumably, yeah.
Imagine it takes 47 million.
I mean, very possible. Because the max will be higher then. It's totally possible he's still playing at an MVP level.
Who knows? I mean, shit, dude. It might take a couple of years to retire.
Is he 30?
He's going to be 33 in 2022-23. He can still. It's
very possible James Harden signs another max at that point. I think possible.
He can, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't take the 22-23 player max, the player option, which again is for
it all depends on what the league's finances are looking like, what the max is at that point.
Yeah, it's just a question to have because COVID might still be kicking up a little bit at that point.
I'm not gonna. We can't play that game.
No, I know, but like
we can't. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
We don't know.
I can't believe you're trying to talk to me about screenshots of run blocking. We'll talk about that when we talk about the NFL.
I literally texted you. We can't play that game, but it's worth looking at. But at the end of the day, look, Daryl Morey. A lot of credit was given to him because he was an innovator. He was doing things that had never been done before, and it worked to a certain extent. But a team with, that high of aspirations, Tillman Fertitta, who does not like he's not a good owner.
Nope. Governor.
Right. Sorry. He is not. He's not well liked. He's got some questionable. He's made some questionable decisions. Shit like that. Owners, coaches, players don't really like him. Also donates to Trump every year. Make that what you will. It's Daryl Morey and him are kind of beefing. And he decided he's like, all right, I'm going to be cheap. And they don't have a lot of money to be strapped with.
Well, I don't think it's about being cheap. I think it's about look, the Rockets have always been. I think part of it might have to do with being cheap, not wanting to pay Daryl Morey, but I think the bigger part is the Rockets have always been so analytically inclined. Mm-hmm. I got to imagine Daryl Morey probably could read the writing on the wall or on the Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want to say. You look at this roster, you look at the way you've tried to win for the last 4 years now, right?
And it hasn't worked.
You haven't not that it hasn't worked. I mean, damn, most teams would take two.
Yeah.
A Western Conference Finals trip and 4 years in the playoffs with an MVP candidate. Mm-hmm. You'll take that for a 4 year window, but I think you've got to look at it and be well, shit, it's not working.
Yeah.
Insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. What could the Rockets do differently? I mean, this is one thing they could do is bring in a new GM. Maybe a GM not so stone cold committed to the ISO ball. I think that's something we haven't even discussed is talk about a roster. I think you and I are both in agreement here that ISO ball and the Rockets offensive system, not even roster makeup, just the way they play basketball doesn't work in the postseason.
No, and it hasn't worked the last couple of years for whatever reason that is. Bringing in Westbrook in place of CP3.
You and I can both list a number of reasons why it doesn't work.
Bringing in CP3, bringing in Westbrook in place of CP3 was not the answer, and it was not a good fit. Which was weird because Daryl Morey is so analytically inclined.
And I guess the thought process is if you obviously you're not worried about making the playoffs if you're Houston. I guess the thought process is if you just catch one of those like Russell Westbrook month-long spells where he is just cooking people, which happens, it does happen.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed on the show, like there are two Russell Westbrooks. There's like MVP, carry your team, Russell Westbrook, and then there's like literally ruin your offense, Russell Westbrook. And the Rockets got a lot more of ruin your offense, Westbrook, than they did MVP Westbrook.
Yeah, and I mean, he had COVID, and he had a knee issue or a calf issue.
He's always got knee issues.
Yeah, lower leg issue. And, at this point, like, that's something you can't just be like, oh, he had an injury, because, like, it happens so often.
And also, Westbrook's the type of guy who, like, the cliff is going to be a sharp cliff for Westbrook when he starts to decline.
Well, it already is a sharp cliff.
No, I mean, when he's still putting up numbers. Well, when he really starts to become like, not even a starter anymore, it's going to be quick and it's going to be ugly.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we saw from Blake Griffin that we were like, how is he going to adapt? Because he doesn't shoot the three well and he relies on his athletic ability.
But
and
Blake adapted beautifully.
Yeah, he shoots the three well. He's still on a huge contract that he does not really deserve, which makes things interesting. But like, again,
we saw Blake drop a remarkably easy 40-piece in person.
God, we always bring that up.
I know it was a fun game.
God, I was violently hungover though.
I
I barely remember the game. It was such a bummer.
But it was just like, what do the Rockets do? Like, what is their plan?
Well,
Gundy?
What?
Van Gundy?
Maybe. They were talking to him. They were talking to Ty Lue.
Bill O'Brien?
A big thing too is
I think it's got to be Bill O'Brien.
What? Excuse me.
He'll do the same thing he did with the Texans. Take over GM and head coach. It'll work perfectly.
And run the team into the ground more than he already has.
Yeah. He just has a thing for just ruining Houston franchises.
You hear no complaints from me.
No.
This could be a lot too. Like, there's a new head coach. Maybe Tillman does not want to go in this direction anymore. He's like, okay, I'll get a GM who I like his vision, who will be able to pick his own head coach, or will have the head coach that he wants. If we're going to blow it up, we start fresh, just clean slate now. Because it's not unheard of if you don't bring back your head coach to not bring back your GM as well. If you're going to kind of go in a new direction.
Especially in a situation like the Rockets where Morey and Antonio were so in lockstep.
Yeah, this does indicate that they're going to make a big change, though, because you're not going to not bring back your GM and not bring back your head coach if you're not going to make a big change, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to – there's only so much
blowing it up.
Right now.
Yeah, like, without blowing it up, the only trade piece they have is Daniel House, which is like –
what does that get you?
Yeah, not much.
Gun to your head right now, and then we'll move on. Is James Harden a Rocket next season?
Oh God. Fuck it. I'll be bold. No. Like, I think he will, but the like inner like demon in me is just like, no, he won't. Like,
second gun to your head, where does he play?
Oh, that's an impossible question.
You got two guns on you right now. Give me an answer.
Fuck, dude. You just pull the trigger at that point. I don't know, dude. I gotta look at teams that like have cap space. And low key, all I'm gonna say, lowest of keys, right?
Lowest.
The Spurs have the third highest cap space available going into next season.
Wow, I cannot believe you thought.
They have two players. They have two players guaranteed after this season. You trade away LaMarcus, DeMar DeRozan, and 2 first-round picks. You're taking away $50 million off your books, and you get.
Let's talk about the antithesis of Spurs basketball.
Dude, that'd be wild.
Look at your goddamn arm right now and tell me you're James Harden on the Spurs. Look at your arm right now.
It would just be constant heartburn, but that would be sick.
He is like the exact opposite of everything that Greg Popovich does. The exact, like, diametric opposite.
For sure. But.
There is no but. He's not going to the Spurs.
But.
What assets do they have?
I just told you, dude. They have expiring contracts on expiring contracts. They have all
the Rockets are not trading James Harden for expiring contracts.
They have first round picks. They got DeJounte Murray. They have Derek White, and they have Lonnie Walker. All young players they can use. They got Pirtle the Turtle as well.
Are you fucking with me right now? Are you fucking with me right now?
No, I'm not fucking with you. They have assets. Just trust, bro. You haven't been reading enough Air Alamo. That's your problem.
I cannot believe what's coming out of your mouth.
Just saying, man. Basically, anyone that has cap space and first-round picks is a player for James Harden at this point. Agree or disagree?
Agree, but the Spurs are not trading for James Harden.
Oh, I didn't say the Spurs are going to trade for James
Harden.
Based on philosophy. The Spurs. I didn't say the Spurs. Also, don't forget, Greg.
You did say the Spurs. You did say the Spurs.
Watch the tape. No, I didn't say the Spurs are going to trade for him or they'd want to. I just said the Spurs have assets to trade for him. There's a big difference there. There's a big – OKC has assets to trade for James Harden. They're probably not going to. I don't know, actually. That would be wild.
That would be really funny.
Did James Harden traded for Chris Paul?
Can you imagine? Like, that would also be hysterical.
Oh, jeez.
This league.
Right.
This league.
You want to wrap up
storyline-wise, Harden goes back to OKC.
God, that would be the
first ring with the Thunder. That would be unbelievable.
That'd be the funniest shit ever. You want to talk some? You want to wrap up some baseball?
Real quick, we'll get through the. Oh my God,
crazy.
What were we even talking about? The Astros. We can't mention the Astros series without talking about Jose Altuve having the yips.
Yeah,
love to see that.
Crazy. Man.
Okay, do you know who Chuck Knobloch is?
Should I know who Chuck Knobloch is?
No, you shouldn't. He played second base for the Yankees in like the mid to late 90s. Had the exact same issue. Could not throw the ball to first base. Literally couldn't do it.
No, one time it was to second.
Point being, he couldn't throw the ball. He just lost his ability to throw the baseball. And that's what's happening to Jose Altuve. And it's really fun to watch, honestly.
Yeah, 3 errors in 3 games.
Yep.
3 errors in 2 games, I think. A lot of them I won't say they led to the Astros losing, but they led to the Rays taking the leads.
Not helping them.
Certainly not helping.
It's just fun to watch. And I've very much come around on the fact that I hate the Astros more than I hate the Rays.
Yeah. I asked you that question, like gun to your head, you had to root for someone, and you were like, I don't know. I wouldn't be a question for me, honestly.
The pain was still fresh in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, the league hates the Astros, but the fact that they cheated against you guys
makes it all the more worse.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why. Like the Rays beat you guys because they were a better team. I don't care if you guys had beef. Like they were the better team.
Last point on the Astros-Rays series. Does it go past 5?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Who the hell pitches for Houston tonight is the question.
Greinke with a sore arm. No,
Oh, God. Yeah, no.
Obviously,
it's not gonna be Valdez or McCullers, which is like they're screwed. The Rays are somewhat fresh in their bullpen. We talked about before. They just have a stable of guys that can throw 98. Like, see, like that's not nearly as bad as my guys are savages in the box.
Okay, but see, like I'm watching
talks like that. Like
that was him yelling at an umpire. That's entirely.
Yeah, that was the most staged
really
shit I've ever seen in my life.
Savages in the box. That was fucking 2 years ago. It's also
just saying, it's the worst.
You act like that wasn't like a top 5 rant we've ever seen.
No, I enjoyed the John Boy video. That was the most staged shit I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
What do you mean staged?
Who the hell? My guys are savages. Who talks like that, bro?
My ass is in the jackpot right now. I'm Terry Collins. That was also
Terry Collins is like 75 years old. He talks like that. Terry,
they are savages in the box.
Help me help you out. Help me help you out.
Anyway,
real savages in the box scoring a run in an elimination game.
Okay.
What do you mean? How's that a dig at me?
I don't know.
The fact that your books are going to be in shambles and we're gonna buy DJ LeMahieu from you guys. Yeah, there's no way DJ LeMahieu is not in pinstripes next year. By the way. Yeah,
talking about heater notifications to get text from John Salerno. Do you want to make a trade in the Dynasty League?
Oh, interesting. I saw John Salerno just to out him in our league was giving me a lot of shit yesterday. So. As a fantasy football commissioner, if I may speak for a little bit.
Hey, I'll let you speak. I was a commissioner at one point.
It's a hard job this year. You got to think of what to do COVID-wise. We chose not to add IR spots, and then I will take the brunt of this. I didn't add them in time before the season started. You can't add them mid-season, but now you can add 4 spots. John Salerno was giving me a lot of shit. We had made up like a free agency COVID spot.
John's idea was the Salerno plan was money, in my opinion. I was the only person who voted for the plan, and now that's what we're doing.
And now the plan is, to have kind of that substitute player as long as you choose them before the 1:00 start game for COVID.
I don't know why people were so opposed to that idea. It makes
it was opposed,
sense. And John's right. It is literally.
It's a great idea.
It's absurd to ask fantasy owners to have to worry about games getting postponed due to COVID.
It's a great idea. The reason we didn't go through with it is because it was suggested at 12:15 p.m. and I was about to drive home and no one was answering. So that's why it wasn't suggested. And also at that point, the Kansas City New England game was probable. They said it was on. They said they didn't have any more test positive. That's why it wasn't at that point. It was literally just a player being questionable for Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
John Salerno yesterday asking me to add an extra roster spot for him and to help him do things. So I'm outing him for trying to collude with the commissioner.
Collusion.
Before we wrap up the Astros, so we can just talk about the Dodgers real quick. We were talking about about Greinke being kept in there. Pretty crazy. That game last night was the first time in the whole AL that the two starting pitchers have gone 6 innings, which is crazy. Out of the 40 times in the postseason that there's been a starting pitcher, so the games that there have been, 22 of them, a starter has pitched 6 full. Only 8 times have they gone 7 full. It's crazy.
That's baseball today, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing new either in October. But it's just even more crazy considering there's basically no days off in between games. I mean, there are no days off in between.
Which is so fucking stupid. But anyways, Dodgers Braves.
Dodgers Braves, yeah.
I guess the Braves weren't going to sweep the entire postseason.
Yeah. I guess the Dodgers were mad.
Look, the Dodgers are good. I don't think I expected the Dodgers to put up 11 runs in the first inning. Good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason the Dodgers were the best team in baseball this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's summed up right here. The Dodgers only lost back-to-back games 5 times this season.
Mm-hmm.
In the game, the day after they lost back-to-back games, 5 times, went 5-0, and they outscored their opponents 44-15 in those games after they lost back-to-back.
That's really good, right?
Doesn't lose 3 straight.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Very, very good. Numbers say good.
Numbers say good. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Good to know. I mean, this is a good team.
This should be a hell of a series.
This is a team that in game. I mean, I feel like people were really overreacting to. Okay, yeah, the Braves smoked them in game 1. It was a 1-run game with a winning run at the plate. That was anyone's ball game. Yeah.
It was I was talking with Nick Arpino about it. He's like, yeah, those, Braves were losing. The Braves were up the whole game. That just got close to the 9th inning. I'm like, well, yeah, they got close in the 9th inning. The game was still going on.
Yeah, right.
This is not an instance of the game looking close. The Yankees-Rays game that was an 8-4 final. That was not a 4-run game. Stanton had a 2-run shot in the 8th, and we didn't touch a ball the rest of the game. This was a 1-run game. The Dodgers had the game-winning run up at the plate in the 9th inning. That's not an illusion. That's not looking closer than it was. It was a close-ass game.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like the Braves were in complete control the whole game in game 1. Right. And I think we probably have the same opinion. The momentum is shifting LA's way, right? Obviously that's going to be the case when you win 15-1.
But I wouldn't even call it shifting LA's way. I'd say this is going to be a good ass series. It's going to be close. Okay, the momentum is trending towards the Dodgers. The Dodgers are still down 2-1. It's just through 3 games, I feel like it's hard to say where's the momentum,
Yeah, but I mean you're down 2-0, and you take that win. Now the Braves were all right, bet we gotta come back here, and we gotta be strong. We maybe underestimate our opponent. This and that. I doubt it was that.
That type of thing.
It was going to happen eventually.
In the postseason.
But I mean, if you're the Dodgers, you're looking at game 2 and you're like, yo, we staged a big comeback and lost by 1. We had the tying run at 3rd, right? We come back in game 3 and we absolutely whoop their asses. And
Smoke them. 11 runs in the first inning. Postseason record.
And then classic Braves, by the way. And then you come back in game 4 and you got Clayton Kershaw on the mound. The
question is, how confident are you in Clayton Kershaw?
And Clayton Kershaw has been good.
Clayton Kershaw 2 days after he got scratched.
If he's
back
if he's
issues,
healthy,
which he has had in the past.
If
he's not healthy, I can tell you that much. He's not healthy.
Okay,
he's pitching. He's not healthy.
Zach Greinke isn't healthy, and he went 6 strong yesterday. Like
Zach Greinke also doesn't have a history of choking in the postseason.
Okay.
I mean, does Clayton Kershaw not have a history of choking in the postseason?
He does. I mean, Clayton Kershaw just has to give them enough because Atlanta's bullpen got worked last night, and they have a rookie on the mound tonight in Bryce Wilson, spelled Bryse.
Bryse.
Which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Name my firstborn Bryce.
He hasn't pitched since September 22nd. He hasn't gone over 5 innings in a season.
He's got 15.2 innings in the regular season. This guy barely pitched.
Yeah. And I mean, this was the question with Atlanta, with all their injuries in the rotation, is what can they do after the first 2 starters if their bullpen is getting worked? Like, this is probably going to be a bullpen game for them, and they got worked yesterday.
If I'm a Dodgers fan, I want to get into the NFL here, but if I'm a Dodgers fan, I am very nervous about Clayton Kershaw on the mound tonight.
You should be nerous, but you should be feeling good about the situation. Yes, especially but at the same time,
more because it's his back. Clayton Kershaw's back has been an issue for 2 full seasons now. And if he just got scratched from his game 2 start because of back issues, how much better is he going to be feeling today as opposed to 2 days ago?
But is it fair? Can you be feeling, a little nervous because it's Kershaw and, 2 days after he got scratched, but also feeling good about the position you're in, right? Because you can tie this series up at 2. That's a brand new series. Yeah.
Look, Clayton Kershaw's just got to deliver. It's that simple.
Yeah. Or he's just got to outplay. He's got to outplay Bryce Wilson, right?
Bryce Wilson, yes.
Bryce Wilson.
I'd be worried if I was a Dodgers fan.
Hey, but shout out you. I mean, I laughed in your face because you had the Braves going to the World Series.
Looking good.
Yeah,
I had Braves Rays. I'm feeling real good about that right now.
You had Stros Rays, right?
No, I had Braves Rays.
No, I'm saying in the ALCS.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had Stros Rays.
Yeah.
In the ALCS. Oh, so you got both your championship series, right? Oh.
Yeah.
What a concept. It's pretty crazy. All right. NFL. This morning, the Falcons had to shut down their facility because they had 4 positive tests. They weren't confirmed.
4 positive, yeah.
Yeah, not confirmed. Well, with all the shit happening, you got to be careful. But now Shefty came out and said that it's just one staff member, not a player. So they should be fine. They should be fine. They got to monitor it.
Yeah.
Because
Le'Veon Bell cut by the Jets, hysterical. Good for him, honestly.
Yeah. How does Adam Gase still have a fucking job, man?
He must be so good at selling himself. That dude should be a motivational speaker.
Dude, if you're a Jets fan and they're like, we're introducing Adam Gase, and then you see his press conference and he's just like,
he looked like the dude in Men in Black with the guy who's just bugs.
Yeah, just possessed by bugs.
Literally, that's what Adam Gase looks like.
Dude, if you're a Jets fan, you got to just be wondering, once again, what the fuck what is we doing?
I don't know what
life is just hell if you're
I don't know what Adam Gase's relationship is to the Jets front office. I'd imagine they have meetings during the week, probably. What does Adam Gase say in these meetings to convince the Jets front office that he still deserves his job? What does he possibly say? I walk up to a professor. I've missed every assignment. I've failed every exam.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Professor so-and-so, I deserve an A in this class.
Okay, but what if you're
I got potential.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a genius in this subject.
I feel like this sounds like you in class. Not miss every assignment, but
okay, get out of here.
Oh, really? You don't make me pull out the receipts, bro. New telecom, why don't you tell everyone how late you were heading in those assignments?
Did I pass the class?
Yeah, you did pass. And Adam Gase is not passing the class.
Did you learn anything in that class?
Hey, we made our logo with Canva, so I guess so. And Anchor.
Did you learn Did you learn anything beyond? Okay, we're not giving him any credit. I'm not gonna say his name out of respect.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything?
Nice guy.
Sort of. Did you learn anything other than the name of those two websites?
Remember when he didn't know my name like 4 months into the class?
Yep.
What did he call me? He called me Matias or something?
He called you like
Oh, he called me Mateo.
Mateo.
Called me, this motherfucker called me Mateo like it was like November, right? It's fall semester.
Like well into the semester.
Yeah, this is my last semester in college. And I'm like, I'm kind of on cruise control at this point. Not really worried about this class. And he's like, Mateo, like, why don't you come present? And I'm like, yeah, it's not my name. And he was like, what? And I was like, bro, are you dead ass right now?
Well, to this guy's credit, he's like a screenwriting professor trying to teach a class about new media technology.
To his credit, over his head in the class. To his credit, he can't remember my fucking name. Get the fuck out of here. That is disrespectful beyond belief.
Why are we talking about the guy?
Because Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
Now,
no, because Adam Gase.
I think that's a little unfair because think of like you're failing all your assignments. You're pulling in terrible performances. You barely show up to class, but you're also like sick, right? That's what Adam Gase is. They've had injuries before, but at a certain point, everyone's had injuries, right? Like you got.
Yeah, but try being this bad for like 3 years.
Yeah, 2
years. Yeah.
I think it's just like. I don't know if Le'Veon getting released is so much on Adam Gase though, right? Like it's easy to like just jump on him, but
no, it's about Le'Veon Bell having zero interest in playing for the team anymore.
Okay, zero interest, which is kind of fair.
Fair or not,
yeah, very fair. But also like you got to look at it too in the sense that they said they were shopping Le'Veon Bell, and 3 hours later they released him, right? And they were like, yeah, we didn't find anyone to trade.
Well, because they probably realized that.
Wait until the deadline. Like,
okay, but like if there's
can't go down,
it can because you can play him and he gets hurt.
Okay, and then you just release him anyway. Like, right?
I think it's the type of thing where Le'Veon Bell's a vet. He's been in the league. He says, I don't want to play here. Are you going to keep that guy around? We've seen this happen so many times. We've seen this. This is not a new situation at all. We've seen this happen.
Okay, yeah, fair, but
on numerous teams.
And we've seen Le'Veon hold out before, right? Worst case scenario.
You've also seen literally Le'Veon Bell do this. Yeah, I'm not even talking about Le'Veon like demanding a release. I'm talking about any NFL player. We've seen this. Guys get stuck in a bad situation.
Okay,
say, okay, I literally have zero interest in playing for this team. Release me.
But
that's nothing new.
Okay, that's fair. But the fact that they looked for trades for 3 hours, like that's so little. Because hear me out, right?
Bro, I don't know why you're like freaking out about this. This happens every year.
I know, but like a player of that caliber, the fact that you shopped him for 3 hours, didn't find anything.
It happens every year. You know, we've talked about this. Calais Campbell got traded for a 7th.
Okay, but he got
Calais Campbell's a much better player than Le'Veon Bell.
But that is more return than they got for. They literally got diddly dick for Le'Veon Bell. Like,
okay, well they probably talked to other GMs and they were like, yeah, no, we're not trading for him, and so they're like, okay, shit, we're releasing him. I think don't know why you're so like caught up on this. This is like not a story.
Because I just think like Le'Veon's stock can't get lower if you're going to release him anyway. It's just a matter of
it's not a matter of like value. I think it's literally just a matter of like respect for a veteran who's been in the league, and he's like, I do not want to play here in the slightest.
I don't know. I think at that point the team has to have some sort of control.
It's not a story though.
It's a story because we get to clown the Jets, right? Like
clown the Jets, but like this is nothing new about a player demanding his release from a team, and they just release him.
I understand, but like a team like the Jets who are in full rebuild and like they just threw so much money at Le'Veon and they've played him for 18 games, like
okay, but like clearly if there was going to be a trade, they could have found something. Like what the 3 hours, what the 3 hours indicates to me is they asked around and they knew there was nothing.
But okay, you're.
Like the Jets are not a good franchise. They're not well run, but like, come on, like you don't think they could? If there was a trade to be found, I think they could have figured it out.
Okay, but
even if it's just the 7th.
But
why are we still talking about this?
All I'm saying, worst case scenario, right? Le'Veon rushes for. Is he a player of that caliber? Is like capable of rushing for 100 yards over the next 2-3 games?
What are you saying?
I'm saying is that you could have at least gotten a 7th for him.
Clearly, they couldn't have. Are you a better GM than whoever the hell the Jets GM is? Woody Johnson? No, who the hell? I don't even know who the Jets.
He's the owner. Joe Douglas. Like
right.
Joe Douglas is a good GM, which makes this all the more perplexing. I just think
it makes it all the more understable. He couldn't have found a trade. There was no value for him. There was no way more than trade for him.
3 hours.
You don't think they could have found it? Like, if the fact that they waited 3 hours clearly shows that they did not have a trade to be made.
I don't think you can. I don't think you
Bro,
can
like,
that in 3
you're
hours.
not smarter than an NFL GM. Neither am I.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm pretty
Get the fuck
smart.
out of here.
I'm pretty
what
smart.
Are you saying?
Pretty smart.
Bugging. Absolutely bugging.
All right. Games to watch for this week. There are a couple good games. We got to start with Brown Steelers, right?
Got to start with it. I mean, you kind of. It's funny.
It's a 4-0 Steelers team and a 4-1 Browns team.
I'm joking. It's the Browns are 4-1. Like, holy shit, the Browns
are like a top 10 team. This is fucking crazy.
I saw them at like 6 on someone's power rankings, not mine, but like they're looking pretty good. I mean, that Colts defense was good coming into the last week. Still is good.
Yeah,
the Browns won that game pretty handily.
Wow, it's almost like, and hear me out. This is a crazy concept, right? It's almost like you have very good wide receivers. You have good tight ends, you have very good running backs, and you have like a solid quarterback.
Don't forget
right?
Your Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, well, it's almost like if you can figure out some sort of system, which shouldn't be that hard, you can win football games, right?
You were big on the being smarter than NFL teams vibe today, aren't you?
I'm not saying I'm smarter than Kevin. I'm not saying I'm smarter than Hugh Actually, I might be smarter than Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, probably.
And the amount of times that I've accidentally called him on this show alone, Hugh Jackman, is hilarious. Yeah. I found 2 questions, and maybe you agree with these. Let me know what you think. First of all, can Cleveland's secondary handle the Steelers' weapons, right? Because
probably not.
Probably not. We saw them do a pretty good job last week against the Colts. A lot of that was Philip Rivers just being bad.
To compare the Colts offense to the Steelers offense.
I know.
Not even close to the same level. Like, not even close.
You're saying the Colts are a lot better?
No.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
No, you gave me that look, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, no.
I
just meant to make sure. Just to make sure we're all the same page here. A lot of it was Philip Rivers just playing terribly last week, and
I think it's a combination of like Philip Rivers not being great, and like who the hell, like what weapons do the Colts have? T.Y. Hilton.
The Colts. I mean,
Mo Alley Cox.
Mo Alley.
Stop everything.
They have speedy receivers, but they're not like very good. Like Pittman was out last game. They have Zach Pascal.
Are we really debating who's got the better offense here?
Yeah, no. The Steelers have a lot more weapons. Cleveland's secondary has been the question mark for them. Is can they handle?
It's not even really a question mark. This Cleveland, like outside of Denzel Ward, like their secondary is not good. They've got like their pass rush, and specifically Myles Garrett, bails out their secondary a lot. And like Myles Garrett is that type of player who can just kind of like wreck your shit offensively.
Yeah,
he is. Like there's a reason he was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I think he's been the highest rated pass rusher through the first 5 weeks. I saw through PFF. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then the second question I had is, can Cleveland handle the blitz? Because
I'm more confident in. They're all ones who are playing really well. I don't know what their like starting guard Wyatt Teller came out of last week's game. I don't know what his status is right now.
That's gonna be big. He looked like he was gonna come back for the majority of the game. They kept saying like questionable, probable,
the dreaded
incoming.
Q. Yeah.
I mean, it's I saw the name Blitzburg. Some numbers on them. They have blitzed on over half of their pass plays that they've faced. They've recorded a pressure on over half of those blitzes, 52%, which is the best in the NFL. Their secondary has not been as good as last year. They still have a good defense, but their bread and butter has been their pass rush and their ability to get to the quarterback.
Well, their pass rush, and also Minkah Fitzpatrick is just such a unique piece, and they can deploy him in so many different ways that he literally is kind of like an eraser in terms of like, you can. He's just so versatile. He's literally like a Derwin James type, where it's like you can play him in whatever role you need. Like wherever you think is like the most important spot on the field to cover on a given play. If you're the Steelers, you're probably putting Minkah Fitzpatrick there.
Yeah.
Like wherever you think the offense is trying to go, you put Minkah there, and then you send Heat, and it's like, all right, Heat coming. Gotta get the ball out quick. Oh shit, I don't want to throw it to Minkah Fitzpatrick. Oh shit, I got sacked. Like that's what they're doing, and it's working.
Yeah.
Good teams know how to play to their strengths.
Yeah. Strength of the Browns. We were wondering what they were going to rely on last week, right? With no Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt is really good, but the Colts have a good run defense. They have a good defense in general. And they came out and they threw the shit out of
statistically number one in the league going into last week, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. And they threw the shit out of the ball. So now what do they do against the Steelers? If their O-line can hold up and they can exploit those, those one-on-ones.
They're still going to be looking to get the ball going on the ground.
Yeah, the Steelers have, again, a very good run defense.
Well, and the crazy thing is the Browns have finally realized, like, oh, wait, we've got this guy 13, this Odell Beckham guy. It'd be pretty good if we,
that's what
just run him 50 yards down the field every play.
I wasn't trying to, say I'm smarter than previous Browns head coaches, but it is possible.
It's possible. Freddie Kitchens, huge.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like, wow, you have a lot of good pieces. Just figure out how to put them together, right? And that's obviously the $1 million question. And Stefanski is a good coach, but you have
$100 million question.
Next game, Packers Bucks. Battle of the greats.
Definitely the game I'm most excited for this week.
Brady versus Rodgers. That's got to be the main storyline of the game.
I think so. Obviously.
Duh.
It's not even storyline, but the main stylistic matchup is what can Rodgers do against the Bucs defense? Because the Bucs defense has been phenomenal this season. They were really good last year too. Yeah, I said it like it was a surprise. The Bucs defense was one of the best in the league last year, and they've picked up.
The run defense was very bad, though. The run defense was bad, and they shorted up. That's what they still
weren't. That was the remarkable thing. It's their run defense was trash, but still yardage and points wise, they weren't that bad.
Carlton Davis on the back end was really good. One of the highest rated. I was going to get to that, but it's only right that you should do it, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a big test for the Bucs. They were, they lost against the Bears. It's a pretty good Bears team, not a great Bears team.
Perhaps a fraudulent Bears team.
Perchance. But we talked about
fraudulent than Union. If you're listening, Frank Rossi.
You can't keep calling them frauds, dude. They ran over us.
They're still frauds.
It's a Bucs team that has to go out and prove it. This is a Packers team that's fresh coming off a bye week. They're probably going to get Devontae Adams back. I think he was a full participant last practice. It's really going to come down to, can the Bucs get healthy on the offensive side, right? Because the big thing coming into the season for Brady was, he's not the same Brady he was before, but he has a lot better weapons than he did.
Probably the best weapons he's had since Randy Moss.
But at least compared to last season, it was an absurd
last 3-4 years, honestly.
Okay, but I'm just going from last season where we saw his play really decline to this season, right? A lot better. Yeah. But Mike Evans has been banged up, and it's an ankle injury, which if you're going to have him play most weeks and at full capacity, he's not going to recover fully from it, but you can play through it. He just doesn't look like himself. He's got an ankle injury.
He's still having a good season.
Yeah. But, this is a top 5 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Not having a top 5 receiver in the league season. Chris Godwin missed last game with the hammy. He's with limited practice, so he might play. But, without them too, who are the receivers? Scotty Miller?
Gronk, duh.
Gronk is a shell of himself.
Yeah, honestly. Gronk is – I can see, towards the end of the season that Gronk and Brady kind of start getting back on the same page, but it's not going to be, the same, destructive effect that it was in their prime, obviously.
And and no one really expected it to, right? If you watched any Patriots football 2 seasons ago, you knew that wasn't going to happen. He was a non-factor.
No, Gronk is washed. It's just a matter of them being on the same page for, a 3rd and 4. Who do you think Brady's throwing the ball to?
And that is worth something, for sure.
It is, absolutely.
He's not even their starting tight end. Cameron Brate is still their starting tight end. Outside of Jair Alexander, the Packers' pass defense has not been very good.
Look, I think the real question here is, I see this game going into – I see it stylistically, I see this as much more of a shootout than the Bucs defense locking up the Packers, because the Packers offense is so multifaceted with Aaron Jones cooking the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers can kind of adapt to whatever you throw at them defensive, or the Packers offense can adapt to whatever a defense throws at them. Mm-hmm. And obviously Aaron Rodgers hasn't hit that serious decline yet.
Yeah.
He's not not
very clearly
he was, but it's clearly not fallen off the way Brady has.
Yeah. Last point on this game, I think it's going to be really interesting. to see how both quarterbacks, who have obviously two of the smartest and best quarterbacks in NFL history, and two good head coaches come out and they scheme, because the Bucs haven't played since last Thursday night, and the Packers are coming off their bye week. So they've both had a lot of time to prepare for this game.
Yeah.
We got a doubleheader on Monday night. We'll start with the first one. Really good game, Kansas City and Buffalo. Low-key, both of them coming off ugly losses. I think Buffalo's
more concerned for Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's was significantly uglier.
Nolan, are you listening? Are you listening, Nolan? Gotta talk about the Titans and the Titans-Bills game. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll start with that game. It was really ugly. The Bills committed like 11 penalties, had 3 turnovers, and give credit, the Titans played really well.
It's so ugly to the point where like you can kind of just flush it. Like
this is what the Titans want to do, though. They want to play that ugly football. But
that's not even quite what I was getting at. I more mean from like the Bills' perspective. Like you come into you lose a game like that, you just gotta be like, well, shit. Like clearly we did not have the right game plan here. Like it's the type of thing where you're just like back to the drawing board. Like there's nothing.
Like, forget it. Let's move on.
Like, exactly. Like you got smoked. You played poorly, and the Titans played phenomenally. Like there's nothing. Obviously, can't live in the past, but like. I was saying it was an ugly game for the Bills, not the Titans. Nolan, come on.
Yeah, the Titans took advantage of every opportunity they got, and they played well defensively, right? Yeah. And it was huge for them to get A.J. Brown back, and they didn't have Tre'Davious White, the Bills, which is a big factor. That's literally their number one corner. Got to talk about Josh Norman, right? I mean, not only was Josh Norman getting smoked all game, like he got put into the fucking ground, dude.
He murders people.
And that is one of the craziest stiff arms I've seen, because there's a difference between stiff arming someone and pushing them off and pushing them to the ground. He took him off his feet.
Yeah. And not even like off like a grab, but just like bah, and just knocked him down.
That was like he put him into a coffin.
And the question you got here is like, who's more concerned after one of those teams is going to lose? That's kind of the way football works.
No. What if they tie? I mean, they could tie.
They could tie. I fucking hope they don't tie.
That would be so funny.
Who's more concerned after a loss? It's back-to-back losses for one of these teams. I don't think – if I'm Kansas City, I'm not concerned until it's like week 14 and you're not in the playoffs yet.
I'm more concerned for the Bills because the thing was like, the Bills played – they played like rookie year Josh Allen this game, right? Without a very good defense.
Yeah.
He made bad mistakes. He was trying to force the ball into Stephon Diggs consistently.
And some of that is like you get down big early, you got to take those chances.
But he didn't play well. He played sloppy.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying Josh Allen played well. I'm saying like game script wise, like you go down big early, you have to force passes and take chances you wouldn't take in a game where you're like in a better situation than down big.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page though. Like, more concerning for the Bills if they lose. Yeah. I just want to bring this up.
Go for it.
No, sorry. You make your point.
I was just gonna say the Chiefs at this point are the type of team where it's like you're not worried about them until they're like literally in danger of missing the playoffs. I'm not worried about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna say?
No, I agree. I was looking up the weight difference between Derrick Henry and Josh Norman. I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
Derrick Henry is 6'3", 247, and Josh Norman is 6 foot 190.
Wow.
Also, when looking up Derrick Henry's name, I found one of his nicknames, Tractorcito, which is small tractor in Spanish.
Interesting. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue very nicely.
Imagine you're like, first down, Tractorcito.
Like,
also, his middle name is Lamar, which makes a lot of sense on why he's nice. Anyway.
Derek Lamar Tractorcito Henry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That rolls off the tongue.
Dallas, Arizona. Look, people are talking about like Andy Dalton's going to be fine with his offense. Dak couldn't get this Cowboys offense to more than one win. Where do you get off by assuming that Andy Dalton is going to get them more wins than
You're asking
Dak
me
Prescott?
How I get off? You asked me how I get off.
That is not at all what I was asking you. Actually,
you said.
It's a saying.
Sorry, I've been watching too much Always Sunny. That's Jesus. Literally all I say. Sorry, what was the question? I completely zoned as soon as you said that.
Like, where do people think Andy Dalton is going to do more than Dak Prescott was doing and lead the Cowboys to wins? I mean, like, what is the logic there? It makes no sense. I mean, like, it's not even just like Twitter. It's like people actually writing articles, like NFL writers talking about, like, oh, like Andy Dalton's going to get the Cowboys season back on track. I'm like, Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. Don't think that's a particularly wild take.
Nope.
Dak Prescott got the Cowboys one win thanks to literally the most perfect onside kick you could ever, like, conceive of.
Yep.
Andy Dalton is not a starter. He's, like, at his absolute peak, Andy Dalton was, like, the picture of perfectly average quarterback play. The Cowboys need a lot more than average quarterback play to win some games here.
Before we continue on this, if you're watching on Instagram Live, our live is about to end. And if you want to keep hearing us talk about the NFL, just make sure you tune in to our Spotify, which will be posted a little later. Ben, the question is, like, does this look worse for the Dallas coaching staff if they can win with Andy Dalton, right? Because it looks
really confusing if they could win with Andy Dalton. I'll tell you
which
that
is like
much.
It's always going to look good if you can win with a backup quarterback, right? Can we agree that Andy Dalton is the best backup in the NFL?
No.
Yeah, right? No? Who?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think I'd call Andy Dalton clearly the best backup in the NFL.
He's a top tier backup.
He's a top tier backup. I don't know. And what do you win by being the best backup in the NFL?
Nothing. But you bring in, if your starting quarterback's going to go down, there are few quarterbacks I'd rather have than Andy Dalton.
Would you rather have Mitch Trubisky or Andy Dalton? But that's what I'm saying. Like, is Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton's not like clearly the best backup in the NFL.
Tank. Yeah. Okay. But he's one of the best. We've seen Andy Dalton a couple of years ago in the somewhat recent past perform well with good offensive weapons. He played really poorly last season. He got benched when he had no offensive line, didn't have AJ Green, didn't have good offensive weapons. Look, I mean, this is it's really going to come down to, can they scheme Andy Dalton up enough that he can get the ball out of his hands quickly, or they can get the running game going? Because low-key, we've been talking about, Cowboys offense has not been the problem, but Zeke has not been playing up to the level that we expect and you need of him. If they can
the Cowboys defense doesn't provide them the opportunities to play the game that they want to.
No,
Dallas the last 5-6 years has been about, like, the run game, controlling the clock, feed Zeke. Put it on his stomach. It's such a stupid fucking tattoo.
So stupid.
Dallas's defense didn't get any better.
No.
Unless they just signed, like, a roster full of all pros, their defense still blows.
They actually just traded for Stephon Gilmore, Calais Campbell, and Aaron Donald.
Okay, Dallas' defense is good now. Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If Dak Prescott couldn't get you any wins, how's Andy Dalton going to get you any wins? Are you just going to start running the ball more when you're down 3 scores in the first half? Like,
yeah, and I mean, we talked about this last week.
It doesn't add up. It literally just doesn't add up.
Talked about this last week. Like, Dallas's schedule does not get easier.
And it's like at the NFC East, but, like, they're just as bad as anyone in the NFC East now.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for them, they've only played one game in conference.
In division.
Yes, that too. But yeah, they do not have.
You've been saying conference for everything, bro. What are you doing?
I know, man. I'm bugging.
I don't know if you guys caught. I'm gonna blow you up real quick. I don't know if you guys caught this on our YouTube upload from Monday's show. Matias called the AL and NLCS the MLB Conference Series.
Okay, but there's a difference between, like,
sends me the link to post it. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I do a show with this kid.
I had been looking at cars and apartments for like 5 hours that day. There's a big. I'll admit that I made that mistake, but there's a difference between thinking it was Conference Series and just accidentally writing Conference Series. Right?
You still wrote it.
Yeah, I'll admit to it.
Anyways. Dallas is just as bad as anyone in the division.
Yeah.
They couldn't, like, Yeah, there was so much noise about like, okay, the Cowboys are going to turn it around. I'm like, were they? Were the Cowboys going to turn it? Like, how? Maybe their defense gets marginally better, but like, how do they get better?
I don't know. They'll figure something out eventually. You know, definitely not concerning. They just let up like 34 points to the fucking Giants, who hadn't scored a touchdown since week 2. Like,
yeah, like I'm saying, like, where does the Cowboys defense get better? It doesn't. Spoiler alert.
We're gonna run through the rest of the slate of games. Just give a point or two on each one. Denver at New England. They both are coming off their bye.
Snooze.
Yeah, it should be a snooze fest. No word if Gilmore's going to play. Oh no, they're what?
Cam is expected to play.
Yeah, Cam and Gilmore will both be back. Denver has nothing offensively. Their defense has been good, but
better than it was. But
not good.
No.
I see New England rolling in this game. Chicago at Carolina. A surprisingly interesting game, right? No Christian McCaffrey still. Carolina's won 3 straight, and Chicago's 4-1.
Hey, Teddy Bridgewater, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you listen to Second Floor Sports, you know there is nothing wrong with being a game manager quarterback, right? And that's exactly what Teddy Bridgewater is. You don't have to throw the ball all over the field. Play smart on offense. Don't turn it over.
If it's working, it's working. Like, a win is a win, no matter how you get it.
I thought Carolina was going to win like 2 to 4 games this season. They're already at 3, so tip of the cap to them. You know, I wonder what their offense. What?
Hope McCaffrey doesn't play this week.
Actually, I have Mike Davis in fantasy.
Yep.
Interesting. You know, like, it's obviously they're not better with Christian McCaffrey on the sidelines, but how does
they're
this
a little
change
bit more
their
diverse?
Offense? Yeah, how does
they're a little bit more diverse?
That's always so interesting when a star player goes out and a team like plays better, right?
Yeah.
Next game, Cincinnati at Indianapolis. Rough back-to-back.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Literally, welcome to the league, man. Like, he got sacked 7 times by the Ravens through the first 2.5 quarters. Like, yeesh, man.
Not gonna be fun.
Not gonna be fun. Detroit at Jacksonville. Probably the worst game of the week.
Can't wait. Next game.
Actually, no. Yeah, I'll say that is definitely the worst game of the week.
Yeah. Atlanta at the Vikings. We said it was questionable. I've got to imagine, unless there are more positives, I've got to imagine that game is perfectly fine.
That game seems like it's on track to play. Possible Atlanta picks up their first win of the season with no.
Or possible Minnesota looks at a really well played game against the Seahawks and kind of turns it into a little momentum against a very bad Falcons team.
I lean that way, but I don't really know exactly what to think. Next game, Washington at the Giants. Won't be a good game, but because the NFC East is so wide open, it's an interesting game and worth watching, or worth keeping tabs on. Not worth watching.
I mean, like, the most frustrating thing is, like, I will be watching it and I will be hating it and is it a 1? I assume it's a 1 o'clock.
Yes, so you can take your nap at least.
Yeah, actually, that'll work perfectly. I'll watch the Giants. I'll watch the Giants football team game. Almost said it.
Football team game.
And then take my nap, and it won't even be depressing. I'll just be like, thank God I wasted like 3 hours of my Sunday watching the Giants play. You
seem pretty confident Washington's gonna win this game. I really don't know. I
was shocked to see the Giants were like the betting favorite.
Yeah, the Giants have been playing better the last couple of weeks, at least. They scored more than 5 points last
against
game.
One of the worst defenses in the league.
Right. But who starts at quarterback for Washington?
Not Dwayne Haskins.
That's crazy to me, man.
I mean, who else is it going to be?
Alex Smith is going to start at quarterback.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Probably going to be Kyle Allen. What do you mean who's going to start? It's going to be Kyle Allen again.
He is cleared, yeah. But it is worth noting that he got cleared in the second half.
I literally just searched. I was like,
they already announced it?
Well, I was like making sure. I literally just looked Kyle Allen injury status, and he's fine to play.
Well, no, I know he was fine to play, but he was also fine to play in the second half of that game. Like, he got cleared, and they chose to keep Alex Smith in there.
I've got to imagine that was more precautionary. I've got to assume it's going to be Kyle Allen again.
I mean, it was a concussion, and he came back clean, which is fine.
Still, that's what I'm saying. Like, precautionary. I don't know. I would assume it's Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Baltimore at Philly. Our good friend Elliot Bauer chose Philly as to take the money line. I
literally was telling me to hammer the money line on Philly.
I think Philly's offense looked good against the Steelers, which is a good sign.
Very good defense.
Their defense did not look good.
It's like it's not even so much about it being Philly, who I think is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just about it being the Ravens. Like,
yeah,
what team in the league am I hammering the money line on if they're playing the Ravens?
no.
Like,
I mean, the
maybe
values were I think Philly is like plus 300. So if you even
I'd be more inclined to bet the spread against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like if there's a spread that like really catches my eye, but like money line against the Ravens,
I think it's like 7.5. I think, which could be interesting. I think an advantage for Philly is the fact that they're back-to-back teams that blitz a lot. The top two blitzing teams in Baltimore and the Steelers. The only difference is Baltimore's secondary is so much better.
Much better.
Marlon Humphreys is like in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. Like he's been fantastic. Like I don't see
early to go that far, I would say. But
next game, Houston at Tennessee. We were looking at this one for the line. We'll get to our best bets in a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't see Tennessee.
Interesting.
Tennessee's a run-heavy team. Houston can't defend the run
or do anything.
Yeah,
or win a game.
Yeah. Oh, no, they won a game.
Okay, they won a game. Sorry.
Next game, Jets at Miami. No Le'Veon. What the fuck is this offense going to look like?
Le'Veon might play in this game.
Yeah, true. Well,
he could play.
That's the interesting thing. Le'Veon jumped up my rankings. Absolutely leaped up the rankings for one of my favorite non-Patriots players in the NFL, just because they announced his top 3 teams were Chiefs, Bills, and the Dolphins. We didn't even talk about this.
AKA,
where do you think we're going to go?
The next 3 teams the Jets play.
Yeah, unreal. Real quick, I don't want to talk about Le'Veon anymore. Yeah. Where do you think he's going to go out of those 3 teams?
I was talking about this with Josh last night. I feel like the appeal going to the Chiefs is obviously like, you want to play for a team that's got a legit shot at the Super Bowl? Obviously, yeah. You go with the Chiefs. You get a timeshare with Clyde. You're happy. I think Le'Veon might want to like be like the clear number 1 back, which would make a little more sense for him to go to Buffalo. I think if he goes to Buffalo,
there's no competition.
He becomes the number 1. But Miami sucks. And that's the weird thing is like the Chiefs and the Bills are both like playoff teams.
Yeah.
He does live near
offense,
Miami. Yeah. He lives in South Florida. Like it's possible he wants to play at home.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at like Le'Veon, you talk about
Clyde owners are praying he doesn't go to Kansas City.
I hope he goes to Kansas City just for that.
Yeah.
He'll face the most competition in Kansas City, I'd say, just because Clyde is the best running back out of him and then Zach Moss and
But I think Le'Veon is still good enough to like really take some touches from Clyde.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The Chiefs love to be so multiple on offense. Like,
yeah, I mean, I would honestly assume them too, especially with Sammy Watkins going out. They might line up Le'Veon a lot as a receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look how the Steelers use them. They used to line him up as a wide receiver.
That's what's frustrating for Jets fans is that they just did not use Le'Veon well. He was targeted 1 time last game, and that was a game coming back from injury, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to use him a lot." Enough about Le'Veon. Yeah. Next game we have is Rams at 49ers. Question is, can the Niners right the ship?
For the Niners.
Yeah, huge. I mean, their season.
You can't call a Week 6 game a must-win. Like you can't. You just can't call it a must-win. But a game where the Niners need to come out and like play well. Like if you lose to a good Rams team, you lose. But like you got to come out and play a lot better than you did against the Dolphins. Jimmy G especially played like shit.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can actually play a full half. A couple things on this game. Low key, the Rams are 4-1. All 4 wins have been against the NFC East, which is pretty wild. What
else? Again, but like it reinforces the fact that like the Rams are good. Like you should beat all 4 teams. And you should beat all 4 teams from the NFC.
And the 49ers aren't a very good team, but they're significantly better than every team in the NFC East, especially with Dak Prescott going out. So this is a test for the Rams.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Even with that, yeah. Let me read you the 49ers schedule because we talk about this being a must-win game, and it's getting there because every game coming up is must-win. You got Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Rams again, Bills, Washington, Cowboys.
Niners are missing the playoffs.
Cardinals, Seahawks.
I'll say it right now. The Niners are
going to win, 2 more games?
Niners are missing the playoffs. There you go.
You're not going to win. You're not winning many of those games.
No.
So yeah,
Power rankings.
Shit is getting rough. Yeah, power rankings time. You want to start?
Well, let's get this out of the way. We both got the Packers and the Seahawks at 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Packers moving up to 1 after having a bye week. Pretty sick.
That's what happens when teams lose or the Seahawks almost lost. Like for a split second, I thought about putting the Seahawks at 1. I was like,
the only reason I have the Packers above the Seahawks is because the Packers have beaten better teams.
Exactly.
But the Seahawks, that was a big win for them to come back against the Vikings. I don't care that
it looks good, but like I do care that they were down. Like I thought about putting them at 1. But was like, if you needed to go literally to like the last second to beat the Vikings, that just bumps it down a touch. You want to take the lead here?
I have the Chiefs at 3. You don't even have the Chiefs in your top 5.
No, I have them at 6.
I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand that. Like the Chiefs beat the Ravens, and you have the Ravens in there, not the Chiefs.
Ravens have played better. Like the Ravens are a better team right now. Chiefs have a loss.
Yeah, so did the Ravens, and it's to the Chiefs. I couldn't justify that. Like,
I don't know. The Chiefs lost to the Raiders. Not a fan.
I
think that was a winnable game for them, and they kind of came out flat.
Yeah, no, true.
It's momentum based. Who's playing better currently? I think the Ravens are.
Well, we both talked about not being worried about the Chiefs, but I guess you're a little more worried than I am. It's saying something because you have.
These are power rankings. It's like who's rolling right now.
Yeah. We both had Ravens at 4, and then I had the Titans at 5. You had the Steelers at 5.
Yeah, and I've got the Titans at 3.
Yeah, I mean, I put the Titans in there because I think they're a slightly better team than the Steelers, but I mean, don't forget the Titans have won. It's been a single score game in every game except for the Bills game, which
they smoked them.
Yeah, and that's why I put them over the Steelers. But they haven't shown me enough against good teams, and not a lot of these teams have. That's why I have them slightly over the Steelers.
Still this early in the season, like a big win is going to shake up power rankings.
Yeah, I didn't feel confident, even with no losses, putting the Titans over the Chiefs or Ravens. I still think both those teams are better than the Ravens.
I guess we'll agree to disagree.
We got our best bets. We threw a bunch of them in here. I haven't really locked in and done enough like research on these to lock them in. We'll have a video coming out on Sunday again just to lock them in. Ben, you want to start with yours? You picked up your second win of the season.
That's
pretty sick. Pretty sick.
So I got Miami minus 9.5 somehow. That still seems like a lot, but I still like them against the Jets in Miami at home with fans.
Okay.
I mean, it's like if you're playing with like actual fans, I think it means something.
Imagine putting your life on the line to watch the fucking Dolphins.
To watch a Dolphins-Jets game.
Jesus Christ, man. I miss football too, but like
not that much.
Yeah.
I got that. I got almost called them what they used to be called again. I got Washington.
That's why I keep putting Washington in the rundown because I was like, I can't put the other name.
I got Washington plus 2.5 against my New York Giants. I can't believe the Giants are the betting favorite there. Like the Giants are not good. They're not people. I feel like people are Vegas overreacting to the fact that they like scored touchdowns against the Cowboys. Like they always because the Cowboys are the worst defense, arguably the worst defense in the league. Like arguably,
I think the Jaguars and the Falcons were like a word.
Are the Cowboys anything resembling a good defense? No, they're not. I just think Washington's pass rush is going to be way too much for the Giants to handle.
Yeah, that's
possible. I think it's going to be the type of game where the Giants just cannot get anything going offensively.
I didn't include that on my bets. I said I can see the Giants winning, but I would definitely stay away from this one unless you feel a certain way. Because I mean, Washington being plus 2.5. If you really don't think the Giants are good, like I'd jump on this. I personally haven't made up my mind on it yet, but maybe that'll change.
I think the Giants are really bad. That's me. I think the Giants are terrible. The Giants very possibly could end up with the number 1 pick.
That's very the Jets probably. They'd be more favorites.
It's going to be between the Jets, Giants, and Falcons. Like someone is going to like fall ass backward into like 3 wins and be like, how the hell did we win 3 games and miss out on Trevor Lawrence? It's just a matter of who's it going to be.
Yeah. We both picked Tennessee minus 3.5.
That's like I'll lock that one in. Houston. Stone cold lock of the week.
This is your classic. Like, what the hell does Vegas know that we don't? Like,
what do they know? What do they know?
Houston just beat a bad Jacksonville team that was down like all of their good defensive players, if they have any. I'm running away with this one. Like,
and it's the type of thing that's like I could see the line like moving a bunch before Sunday, but like at what point are you still not taking the like? They're not going to give the Titans like 11, 12 points. Like it's not going to be that big.
Yeah.
I
would teeter on like 6 or 7.
I would even take it to like 8, maybe.
I would be nervous.
But 3.5, sign me up. Sign me up.
My bets, I have Indy -8 on Cincinnati. It's a big number. It's a big number, but I think Indy bounces back. Cincinnati is not good. I think
the only thing that worries me about that is I could see it becoming just like a super low scoring game.
Yeah. I think DeForest Buckner just sacks Joe Burrow like 17 times per chance.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of sacks. I went the other way on. I took the Jets plus 9.5 on Miami. I think people are riding high after Miami's last performance.
It's not even that I'm riding high. It's that
it's
I'm
the Jets.
Riding incredibly low on the Jets. And there is also something to be said for the Dolphins smoking a Niners team like that.
Yeah, I don't.
A good Niners team, like obviously injured, not playing well, but like, well, part of like look at the Niners' depth. Not even just their depth, like they're just like they had a complete roster. Like they had 53 guys who could play last year. Like yeah, they lost some like the top heavy stuff with the injuries and with free agent signings from last year, but like
I mean,
they're still a good team.
Think about they just got the number 1 receiver back in Deebo Samuel. Who'd they trade away to the Eagles? They traded away another receiver. Whoever the other receiver was. I'm not gonna
call it. I don't.
They lost their number 1.
Back.
What?
They got Mostert back.
Yeah, they got Mostert back, but it was first game back. They got Garoppolo back.
Yards.
Yeah. Well, they got Garoppolo back. He didn't look good in his first game back, so maybe he's a little more rested. They're still missing their number 1 corner in Richard Sherman. They're missing their 2 best pass rushers. Like,
still, it's the Jets.
This is a mediocre 49ers team. I don't like that high of a line on Miami.
I don't know. I just think the Jets got smoked.
Other ones that interested me: Rams -3.5 on San Francisco. I think it's the same deal. I think the Rams are a good team. I don't think San Francisco is a good team.
Fair.
Yeah.
3.5 seems like almost low to me, honestly.
I think I don't know if I would touch it if it went a little higher than that. Honestly, I'm not that confident.
You don't think Rams by a touchdown? You don't think that's?
I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's that bad. This has a weird game script written all over it, though. Like San Francisco comes back strong. They know the time is running out. Sunday Night Football, like extra pressure.
Is that really extra pressure? Does that affect players? I don't think so.
Arizona -1.5 on Dallas.
I like that. I'm basically, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Mailbag time. We actually got some questions.
Let's go.
This one from Joe Guido. Do you think they're going to travel less in the NBA? And a bigger question being, or do we see changes next NBA season from what we saw in the bubble?
I think we're going to, yeah. I don't think they'll go with a bubble unless they absolutely have to, just based on the fact that like we know the players hated the bubble.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I could see them going with kind of like what Major League Baseball did and go more like regional travel if we're still not in a great place come like December, January in terms of COVID. But again, like I could not even begin to predict it.
Yeah.
I think if the NBA has to go with a bubble again, they'd probably wait till the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know if I think the question is more geared towards like when things return to normal, right? Because they would already been talking about like mid-season tournaments. I don't know if I like a mid-season tournament, but
are we talking about like because like the NBA has been talking about those things?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is when the NBA returns to normal, do you see them keeping some things? Because we saw the play-in game be super successful, limiting travel, produced better basketball. Like I definitely see them including those. How they're going to do it, I don't know. They might. But start I also doing think like you divisions.
The whole thing about limiting travel and playing at a neutral site is like teams are going to hate that. Owners are going to hate that.
Yeah.
They want that playoff revenue. Like they want 18,000 fans coming into their gym and paying.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that.
I think we see the play-in game next season.
Like that was awesome. I would be entirely in favor of that.
McGregor Poirier, January 23rd.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah,
but it is a agreed upon fight.
Yeah.
Not that at all means it's going to happen. It is a contractually agreed upon fight right now.
Yeah, which is good news for all of us.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Talk to me in January.
We kind of answered this before, but Dodgers keep momentum. Do they win their next game? I like them tonight.
I don't think they win tonight. I think Kershaw has a stinker.
Ben, known Kershaw hater.
That's actually not true.
That is literally the opposite of the true, right?
I love Clayton Kershaw. Yeah. I just think I don't trust them in the playoffs. I don't trust them with back issues. I don't trust them in the playoffs with back issues.
Yeah, the math checks out there. Last 1
+ 1 = 2. That's about all I can give you.
Actually, 2 left. Titans for real?
Who set that one in? I wonder.
Probably Nolan, the only Titans fan I know.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you mean? Are the Titans for real? They were in the AFC Championship game last year.
I thought they were going to be.
They were doing this year.
I thought they were going to be. I could have bet money on them being a one-hit wonder. Again, we still have to.
One of us had the Colts. One of us had the Titans. I think I had the Titans for the division.
I had the Colts and then the Titans sneaking in right behind them. We just have to be. We got to be careful with the Titans. Like very impressive.
Careful with what?
Okay, with the fact that
for real is a different.
Yeah.
For real is different than like, are they going to win the Super Bowl?
Okay, so let me ask you this: like, are they contenders? Are they like an actual contender for a Super Bowl?
I think they're just outside like legitimate contenders right now.
I still need to see more.
For real, absolutely, like a playoff team. Like, look, like that. This roster construction works.
Yeah,
great defense, great run game. That works in the playoffs.
And Tannehill's good.
Yeah. Like what's not to believe? What makes you hesitant to call them real?
What makes me hesitant at this point is that, it is early. It's week 4. Big win over
6.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Because I saw 4 games for them. I was like, week 4. Yeah. Week 6. They have a huge win over the Bills, which is, I'm not taking anything out of it. Behind that, they have a 2-point win over the Broncos, a 3-point win over the Jaguars, and a 1-point win over the Vikings.
The Titans aren't built to like huge games though. Like that's not their style of play.
Yeah, but the fact that they've won by maximum 3 points against those 3 teams,
it's concerning.
Which are
I think they're.
I don't know if but I'm not even calling it concerning. I'm just something to maybe hold off a little bit on. Ask me that again in like 2 weeks.
You're lucky we're not on Instagram Live right now. No one would be picking you apart.
Yeah, but Nolan also can't spell my name, so I really don't care.
I think that's got to be intentional at this point.
I don't know. I hope so.
It's got to be. Your name's on the live stream. Like, it's got to be intentional.
Last question. I don't understand this one. Deion Waiters
Who sent this in?
I think it was Nolan.
Hold up. I can find out who sent this one in. Let's see. Because it is a incredibly frustrating question. Yes, he deserves a ring. He was on the team.
Yeah, he was on the team.
It was Nolan. Dude, Nolan, what are you doing?
Obviously. Yes, Deion Waiters is the people's champion.
Like, does he deserve a ring?
So stupid.
Whatever. You can make the case that he doesn't deserve a ring. He's getting a ring. Who got more rings than I got?
And right before we wrap up this, true. Right before we wrap up this show, our good friend Dr. D Stratton Travanos asked, "What other sports do we have to watch with the MLB is going to start slowing down in a bit, and it's coming to the end?"
It is slowing down. We've got 2 series going on.
Yeah. I mean, we still have baseball every day.
Oh yeah.
Basketball's done. Football is going to go into its regular schedule. It's not every day of the week.
Is it going to go into its regular schedule?
Fucking knows.
Probably not.
Soccer. Watch soccer. The Prems this weekend. We got World Cup qualifiers. Just had the Nations League in Europe.
I was reading a whole piece, I think, on SB Nation about why we should get rid of the Nations League.
It's still soccer for me to watch. So
yeah. Go Leeds.
That's not a country, Ben.
I'm not talking about a country. I'm talking about a team.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Leeds is not a country.
Because we were talking about the Nations Cup, and I was just like,
yeah, the country of Leeds.
I hate to break this to you, but I don't know. Got anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right, cool. He's been Carlton. I'm Matias Weilmann. Obviously, you know the deal. Subscribe, like, give us 5 stars. Let us know what you think on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and which one?
Breaker.
Our favorite platform, of course. You can watch us on YouTube at Second Floor Sports. You can follow us on Twitter. He's at Ben_Carlton1. I'm Matias_Weilmann. You can follow us at 2 Floor Sports or at Second Floor Sports on IGTV. We will talk to you on Monday. Stay tuned. We'll have a video coming out on Sunday with our pick'ems and our best bets. We will talk to you then.